Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have such an exciting guest. This is Mindy Ross. I'm gonna let her kind of introduce a little bit more about herself and her story, but the purpose of this video is we want to really help people who are trying to decide on making a move to Oviedo based on school zones. And so I have the best person on today ever. Not only did she also take that journey and that leap of faith with her family and move to Oviedo, probably for the school zones. Can I say that?
Yeah, I think that's safe.
But I also want to say that Mindy is the 2025 Carillon Teacher of the Year this year. So such an incredible accomplishment. When they moved to Oviedo, she just dove in with both feet and really encompassed herself and her family in the Oviedo life. And so I think that she's just the perfect person to bring on to hopefully give you some insight if you're thinking about moving to Oviedo and you're just curious about what it is like truly to be in this school zone, in this community, to be a parent potentially, or a future parent if you're thinking long term. So thank you, Mindy, for being on today. And I cannot wait to, give some people some really valuable insight about Oviedo, the school zones, and just life in Oviedo.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Kristine. Thanks for having me. And thanks for describing me as a perfect person. That doesn't happen very often.
Mindy's such a gem.
Perfectly imperfect. How about that?
Exactly. Okay, so Mindy, you came to Oviedo, and at the time, my mom helped you guys buy a house here. So I know that there's kind of like a fun little story about the school zones and all that good stuff. So tell everyone about that.
Yeah, it's actually a strange little story because, we moved here from Cincinnati, Ohio. My husband was relocated for work, and it was terrifying for me. I had never lived more than 20 minutes away from my family, and so the thought of relocating across the country with no family support system, I was really thankful to have your mom in our lives because she was like my Florida lifeline. And I think that's what made me fall in love with your guys's, your dynamic. And I mean, obviously you came into the picture a little bit later because you were still little when I moved here. But when we moved here, my obvious top concern was schools because I had 3 kids, all under 5, but my oldest was getting ready to start kindergarten. So we had bought our Cincinnati house thinking that was going to be where our kids were going to go to school. And we only lived there not even 2 years before my husband got relocated. So it was kind of like a punch in the gut because I had picked that house thinking that was going to be where my kids went to school and grew up. And so when we started looking here, that was obviously my first place was like, we got to find a good school. Yeah. And
most people, whenever they look up Oviedo, they're seeing school zones and they're hearing all about these amazing schools and stuff.
Yeah, and it totally makes sense. And when we picked our house, we thought we were going to go to a school here in Oviedo called Carillon Elementary. And I got super excited. I dove in, researched it, found it was A-rated, all the right characteristics of a school. And I was super excited. And then we moved here and I went to sign my little guy up for kindergarten and they were like, oh yeah, this isn't your school anymore because we just got rezoned. And now you need to go to Carillon Elementary School. And I'm like, wait, what? We based our whole, I feel like, Dave Ross would probably have a different gauge on what he was picking. But for me, I felt like that was probably the number one thing I was looking for. Yeah. And then I remember going to sign him up at Carillon and walking through the doors thinking oh, it's the same school, just a different direction from our house. Yeah. And now, like you said, what a blessing. What I've come to learn about Oviedo and being a parent first, then extreme PTA involved crazy lady to like now teacher in the elementary school where my kids all three went from K through 5 is that all Oviedo schools are amazing. So it really doesn't matter which pocket you find yourself in. It's more about the community you develop within it.
I love that.
And the involvement that you have within that specific school that makes the difference. It's not the school. The schools are all good. And I was talking to you earlier, like as a teacher perspective, like my goal is to develop good human beings, right? That are obviously clever and smart and problem solvers and good communicators, like all the things, but that's every teacher's goal, right? And so we're all building these really great people, and there are a bunch of elementary schools in Oviedo. So it's very hard to research all the different elementary schools.
So true.
But then when you start breaking it down, there's only 2 middle schools and there's only 2 high schools. And so we're all working together to build these communities of young people that are eventually going to all be together. And create truly friendships that last lifetime.
I love that so much. And isn't that funny? Just like what a blessing, especially now that you're Teacher of the Year at Carillon, when you thought that you were signing up for a whole different elementary school, and it's just like such a beautiful full circle, like validating moment. I think it's amazing.
It's pretty unbelievable.
So when you found out that you were Teacher of the Year, like what does that mean to you?
It's almost undescribable. Like obviously I'm a pretty competitive person. So like that part of me, when the nominations and stuff came out and people started like talking, the chatter was there that people had nominated me and people were talking about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that really means a lot. But the closer it got to the actual like announcement, the more I started to feel this sense of like pride and representing like other teachers who aren't seen, because I wish we all had the opportunity to be seen like this and to be heard like this, because we work so hard. And I know we're not the only profession that works hard, but teachers oftentimes get kind of a bad rap, and it feels very thankless. So to have the opportunity to be on a soapbox and be able to share like how important it is, the work that we're doing is so important. It's kind of second to parenting, in my opinion. Teaching is next. So for me to have that opportunity to share that in this way is phenomenal. And to know that like this is a peer voted award. So I've only been teaching, this is my 4th year teaching. You know, I'm not a veteran teacher, and to be seen like that by my peers and to be recognized for like, oh yeah, this lady, like she's doing what she was meant to do, because that's how my heart feels. So to like have that align like that. It's almost like I can't put it into words. What it represents to like that. To my insides.
It's so obvious that you are exactly where you should be. Like, radiates through you, the things that you post about PTA, Carillon, your teaching, like how you get ready for your classes. So it's an obvious, perfect fit right now for you.
It's good in life when you can find matches. Right? Because we go through life a lot like trying to make matches, but when matches find you, it's beautiful.
So, speaking of matches, you kind of got matched with Carillon. What do you like about teaching at Carillon?
So I think my favorite thing is just the community feel. At Carillon, we're a rather large school, about 1,000 students, K through 5, and like that's big for me. I grew up in a really small town, so that's a pretty big elementary school. But it doesn't feel big. It has a really, I think, special sense of like home, away from home for these kids. And I think the involvement of parents has been kind of a lifeline for me, that we have parents that welcome relationship with teacher and want to come alongside that experience for their kids is something that I find really powerful. And I know that there's a lot of schools that don't have that. I think as far as like Oviedo schools, I think they all have that sense of like pride in our school, but more so pride in our community, right? And what we're building in Oviedo is so special. But definitely like the community sense, the culture of the school, the like empowerment of teachers, you know, like all of that is so special, and I know really kind of tricky to find. So I'd say that's probably my favorite.
I feel like a sense of camaraderie within the Oviedo schools. I went to Lake Howell High School, and I wouldn't consider that an Oviedo school, even though I grew up. My address was Oviedo, but it was the Seminole County unincorporated side of Oviedo. So we were kind of like the stepsister of Oviedo schools, if you will. And I was always really not jealous, but it just seemed like even in the stands on like a Friday night at a football game, like they had more pride. And not to say, you know, Lake Howell gets a bad rap, and it's so funny. Like sometimes I'll have clients moving to the area and they're like, we don't want Lake Howell High School. And depending on their personality, I will disclose that I went to Lake Howell High School, and I'll be like, I went there, I turned out okay, you know, because it is a good school, and I've heard that it's gotten better, and I can see that they put in like a swimming pool, like there's obvious investments, and I think that they're even doing a new cafeteria or something right now.
Okay.
But anyways, there is something to be said about being on the outskirts of that Oviedo school camaraderie and that community and that culture. And it's beautiful. And it does feel very, like when I have people moving here, they don't say, I want this particular school. They say, I want Oviedo schools.
Yes.
I didn't really, I mean, I understood that because they are all A schools. So it's like, well, what do you care? But you're so right. And to your point, what you said earlier about how every elementary feeds into the middle school. So it's like, it's not competitive even within the elementary schools and all that, because your kids who are at Parton Elementary, they can go to the same middle school as Carillon Elementary. So you want everyone to do good, because that's who your kids are going to be around. So it's very, you know, so you would say that Oviedo's schools just has a good sense of community. And you say like the PTA, it's very involved, maybe more so than, I don't know, what you've heard around other Orlando schools.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. And you know, it's an interesting connection because a lot of times PTA gets a bad rap. I mean, there's been movies about it, right? Like it's kind of like this weird world, and it's usually like mom heavy. But I will tell you at our school, yes, and exactly. But I will tell you at Carillon, like PTA dad is a real deal, and like we have lots of dads getting super involved and wanting to be a part of their kids' lives. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, like we have definitely, like the vibe is, and what I love about the past administration of our school and the current, like they welcome that partnership. Like, you know, it is hard and tricky sometimes to let parents do their thing. But I think, like coming from the business world, it makes perfect sense. Like let everyone stay in their lane, focus on what they do best and what they bring to the table. You know, and you can be a part of it, but you don't have to be the leader of it. So like we can be, as teachers, we can be a part of the fun. We can participate in the fun. I mean, I was just in a blow up race where I wore a blow up costume and made a complete fool of myself. Yeah, it was pretty great. My kids loved it, but like I didn't dream that event up. Like I didn't plan it. I didn't come up with that idea. Like that's our PTA, our parents bringing the fun, and we're participating in it. While they're not making lesson plans. Like teachers are not in my classroom, or I mean parents are not coming in my classroom and telling me how to teach or what to teach. That's my lane. So they can be a part of it. I love you coming into my classroom and volunteering. And I actually, not all teachers are like that. I love, like, the more people in my classroom, the better. But I find myself like I'm definitely extrovert in that way, right? Like I get excited to perform and put on a performance.
Yeah.
So parents in the classroom just step it up a notch.
I love that.
But they're not telling me what to teach. So we got to remember to stay in our lanes. And when you're choosing a place like Oviedo, you're choosing that they are experts in the lane.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right? They've already figured that part out. We're A-rated schools. Oviedo has a sense of community that's not like a lot of other suburbs, right?
Exactly.
So just let us stay in our lane, and then you get the benefits of it.
Yeah. Are there any like special programs that families who are moving to Oviedo should know about Carillon specifically, or maybe just Oviedo School specifically?
Yeah, I would say definitely, and I don't know for a fact, so I can't speak to it, but Carillon specific, we have a dual language immersion program.
Cool.
So it starts in kindergarten. Obviously, if you're moving here with older kids, I think they take people into it up to a certain point. But kids, I know, but kids start in kindergarten and they do all of their math and science in Spanish.
Wow!
And then and then they do their ELA, their English language arts, and their social studies in English. And how powerful. Yeah. Right? Like, especially in Florida, and our world is shrinking.
Very necessary,
yeah. And like to start that like desire to be, have dual language that early when your brain is like a little sponge is so awesome. I wish I would have had that opportunity. And that's new. My kids didn't have that opportunity. But like that's something special to Carillon, and we are very proud of it. Like they have the dual language program has its own Facebook page, its own it's very we're very, very proud of it. And we have some of the best teachers doing that program and like kind of setting the bar. So I'd say that's pretty special about Carillon. And the other thing that we do is we call them space teams, but it's I don't know. It's kind of like if you were in college and you get to pick an elective.
Okay, cool.
So it's not necessarily your major, but it's like this cool thing that you get to do. And it happens on Wednesdays, and they run in kind of like 6 to 8 week sections.
Okay.
So we just finished one. So teachers choose something or have a parent come and volunteer their time once a week to teach something that is interesting to them. Okay. So it helps teachers stay engaged. So we just finished mine. Mine was Fun with Rocks, because I love geology, and basically geology doesn't exist in curriculum.
Right.
We learn about the Earth's the different layers of the Earth, but that's pretty much the end of geology. But I love geology and think it's pretty special. And I grew up with, grandpa who was pretty into it. So I love sharing my love of gemstones and
I love
things with kids. And our finale was this past week, and my dad came and volunteered in the classroom. The kids call him G Paul. That's what I mean about the community feel. My career as a teacher is it has to be a family project. Correct. Right. So my kids, Edwin comes, my oldest, who's now a senior, comes once a week and volunteers in the classroom. As a mentor to my kiddos. Lila has been Seminole County's Volunteer of the Year last year. She spends all of her waking minutes in my classroom, and building those friendships with little kids, I think, is such a powerful tool for them. But my dad came and opened geodes. So I set up geode farm, and the kids all got to pick their own geode.
I love that.
And then my dad cracked them open, and they each got to take home a geode with their special crystals inside. And so then that brings me back to how powerful it is to have a PTA and the support of parents, because the PTA provided grants to teachers.
Wow.
So we have a grant program, and I was able to buy the geodes utilizing my grant money that I then put right back into the classroom to give the kids this ultimate finale experience of choosing what looked like a normal rock and showing that it's it's really the insides that matter and the insides that make us beautiful. And then tying that back to like a social emotional lesson of like, we have to be able to see.
Teacher of the year. This is
Yeah, we have to be able to see people's insides, and like the outsides don't always look great, right? But we have to take the time to chip away and to get to those insides.
Yeah.
So like full circle, right? And this is like, for me, it's really special when my dad comes in, because he did not want me to be a teacher. So when I graduated college, I had a full ride to business school. And so that's what you do. You go to business school and then you get a business career. And I've done lots of business careers, as you know. And I've dabbled in lots of things and been successful in lots of different paths. But when I decided to become a substitute, and then like, oh yeah, okay, now I think I'll be a teacher. And now 4 years later to being teacher of the year, my dad, I think, is just like, oh my gosh, like, first of all, I'm sorry that I like kept you from this.
On that. You have to follow your gut on that.
Yeah, it's been really cool to have him be a piece of it. So and that's another relocation story, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, he just moved here during COVID, and he's not looking for schools, but he's looking for a place where, like, grandparents are accepted as part of the community. Yeah. He's not an outcast here. He has a better social calendar than me.
They need a GTA.
Yes.
You know what I mean? No, Oviedo really would thrive on something like that, because you're so right. It's so important. And one thing I tell people too is that people don't leave Oviedo. They just upsize and downsize as the family grows, as people move out. You know,
that is so true.
Yeah, lots of fantastic.
Because Florida is a very like transplant heavy.
Yes.
But I feel like once you get in Oviedo, like, people are like, oh, like us. Like, oh yeah, we moved here in 2013. We're not from here, but now we are here. Yeah. Like, this is home.
Well, and also there's a correlation between your home value increasing and your school zone staying good. And because Oviedo has been A schools for like, I don't even know. I should probably have looked this up beforehand.
Forever.
I think like 13 or 14 years in a row.